driving safe. Thursday, 60 degrees. Roll call, please, Mr. Tinas.
Dr. Cordelino?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Present.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Dr. Kane?
Here.
Dr. Modrak?
Here.
Mr. Morello?
Here.
Ms. Noby? Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here.
And reps. Genevieve Blake?
Here.
And Jay Surratt.
Here.
Forum present.
Thank you. Please rise to the pledge. Mr. Tinas, would you please read the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law statement?
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law is enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and attend meetings in public bodies, which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Montville Township Board of Education approved this meeting date. The list of the meetings has been posted at the Montville Municipal Building, or Montville Public Schools, the Montville Public Library, the Montville Township Board of Education Administrative Office Building, the Montville Public School website, and advertising of daily records.
Okay, thank you. We'll hear from our high school student representatives. How are you guys tonight?
Good, how are you?
We're good. Serene's here.
Yep, finally.
Finally.
For sports, spring sports are preparing for the kickoff of their seasons either this Friday or next week. Each team is practicing hard, and it seems like we will have many successful spring sports teams this year. This Friday, the high school will be hosting its 4th annual Staff vs. Student basketball game at 7 o'clock. The student team is filled with seniors ready to give their teachers a run for their money. All funds raised will be divided among the high school classes. It will be an amazing night, and everyone is looking forward to it.
Moving on to clubs, the past 2 weekends, the forensics team had 2 of its biggest tournaments of the season. This was the state tournament, and there were so many names that I truly can't announce them all, so I'm going to announce the top performers. Matthew Pillsbury was a finalist in congressional debate. Emily Leal placed 6th in declamation. Claire Sullivan and James Burnett placed 5th in duo interpretation. James Burnett placed 5th in dramatic interpretation. Natasha Dusage placed 5th in original oratory. Nithya Reddy placed 5th in declamation. Pranav Kumar placed 4th in congressional debate. Jay Surratt placed 4th in impromptu speaking. Noah Wineflash placed 4th in domestic extemporaneous speaking. And Christopher Meyer placed 2nd in international extemporaneous speaking. And because it's the state championship, we had 6 state champions, and those who won varsity categories also received governor's awards, which will be given out in May. Those students were in improvisational acting, Sean Brelby, and domestic extemp, Jay Surratt, and original oratory, a defending champion, Noah Wineflash, and poetry reading, also a defending champion, Claire Sullivan, and varsity Lincoln Douglas debate, Elaine Wong, and a JV Lincoln Douglas debate, Ravi Upanya. Overall, the team placed 3rd in debate, 2nd in speech, and 2nd overall in the state of New Jersey. This weekend, we also had the district tournament, which qualified for nationals. The students that were able to place top 3 in the state are able to go to Dallas in June at the end of this year to compete and represent Team New Jersey. Those people are in U.S. Extemp, Jay Surratt, in original oratory, Noah Wineflash, in the Senate for congressional debate, Pranav Kumar, and in the House, Matthew Pillsbury.
For school, as the year is coming to an end, many seniors and students have been honored with various awards, especially our seniors. Senior Noah Wineflash was selected as Best in Show in Science Research by Monmouth University last week. He won out of a pool of upwards of 30 competitors. Another senior, Jay Surratt, was selected as recipient for a scholarship given through the New Jersey Society of CPAs. The society read through over 250 applications, chose 63 finalists, and 20 winners. Jay will receive a scholarship and be mentored by a CPA throughout his college career. Swayde has happily received the President's Volunteer Service Award for her outstanding work in various volunteer roles, including at the YMCA, Chilton Hospital, and St. Barnabas Medical Center. Marking period 3 is now half over, and the year is finally coming to an end. For seniors, this marks an end to more than just a school year, and all seniors will be deciding on their future in this coming week. On the whole, everyone is progressing and looking forward to ending the year on a high note. But we do have 3 months left, and we will make the most of it.
superintendent's report? None tonight. I just wanted to provide the public with just a very brief update on where we are with our superintendent search. So, as you know, we've advertised in print and online with the help of our consultant, HYA. HYA also recruited and conducted an online survey. HYA also met with various stakeholders and stakeholder groups throughout the community to develop a profile. All applications have been reviewed, all resumes, candidates have been interviewed, and tonight, in closed session, HYA will present a slate of candidates to the board for our consideration and future interviews. So we are moving quickly in our job of finding a replacement for Dr. I just wanted to give the public that update. Any business administrator report?
No report this evening.
Are there any committee reports?
Hey, curriculum, I think we decided on April 21st, was it? Okay, policy, we just met, revised, key policy, two bylaws, and regs.
Okay, any delegate liaison reports, NJSBA, Morris County, the GESCOM, DAC, Mustang? Anyone?
I know there's a meeting Thursday night for the Marsh County.
Yep, Morris
I know
County.
some of us will be there over at Hanover Park.
Yep. This topic is legal issues regarding personnel negotiations, and attorneys from Short Simon will be doing the keynote presentation. Are there any PTC liaison reports? David?
Just real quick, National Sullivan basketball game will be next, tomorrow night.
Wednesday?
26th. Thursday night, yeah. So, encourage everyone to come out and see, watch, it's a lot of fun.
Anyone else?
Just that Valley View has their PTC meeting tomorrow evening, and I'll be attending.
Any negotiation updates?
I mentioned a few months ago that we had our initial meeting with the MTEA. The talks will be characterized as positive and constructive, and as time unravels, I will keep the public posted with regular updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Board have any questions? Okay, I'm going to open it up, public participation for items on the agenda. Okay, I'll close public participation and have a motion for items J to O, including the agenda.
So moved.
Charlie, second?
Second.
John? Any questions on J? Okay,
I have a question on K4. Maybe I just don't understand what it means, but it says that we're approving to permit the boys, Montville boys basketball team practice from June to August. I didn't know we had a team yet. Is this an open practice? Is it just for, I mean, I know most of the team are seniors, and I know that we have JV and freshmen, but is this open to everybody? Is this, I didn't understand what that says. I don't need an answer now. Next week, we'll do it in a Friday update. I just don't know what.
Well, I'll refer to the practices, haven't seen those practices.
Well, I just want, because it says team practice, and the word team means team. It's an
Right.
open practice, it's one thing. So,
I'll refer to it, but it would have to be at the, it's
open practice. If it is an open practice, maybe before you review, we just change it to open. I just want kids not excluded because they're not on the team. Okay?
anything else on K? L? agenda tonight is the retirement of Barbara Stata. And I know that probably people in the audience may or may not know who Barbara is. But Barbara is an integral part of the business office and will take Jim's place on the rare occasion that Jim can't make it to a board meeting. But Barbara's services really can't be appreciated enough. Barbara's very hard worker. She's Jim's right-hand person in the central office. There are many moving parts in the business office, and it is really, we're very happy that Barbara's retiring, but Barbara's retirement will leave a very big void in the business office. So it's with regret and it's with congratulations that we will accept her retirement notice tonight. I'm sure there are other board members who would like to share in that sentiment. Yes.
Yeah, as chairman of finance, Barbara's been to most of the meetings, and I think Jim will admit she does most of the work at the meetings. But I think that she's been an integral part of the business office, as I see one of the other employees back there, Diane, also. And I think it's a great team, and I'm very happy for Barbara. I had the privilege of working with Barbara, many of you probably don't know this, back in 2000 and 2001 when I was an interim up in Allendale. That's the first time I met her. And we sort of lost touch naturally, but I think when she was hired here, it was a great addition to Montville. And I think we all will agree that she's done an outstanding job during her employment here. And she should be well congratulated for her retirement. Put some of that in the minutes, Steve, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else comment?
I'll keep it brief and say that her work has been so appreciated by those of us who really understand what she's done. The business office has done a wonderful job over the last 4 to 5 years. And Jim has made it very clear that Barbara has been a big part of that.
Thank you. I'm sure I express that to Barbara. She's been very appreciated. She's going to be very missed. And actually, we have to give our remarks to
We're happy for her.
Yes.
Anything else on L? M? No N? O? Roll call.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Morel.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Dr. Modrak.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Aye.
Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes.
Dr. Corlino.
Yes, except abstain on check 78656.
Motion's passed.
Thank you. Any old business, additional reports, general board comments?
Now, I asked for this discussion, and I guess it's not on.
So that's extremely weak, unless I put it right up to my mouth. One of the things I asked for on the agenda was a discussion about the recent disclosure that apparently Pearson is monitoring social media accounts of kids who take the PARC tests. Now, some things have arisen in the news since this time, where apparently Pearson has now said they will, quote unquote, no longer use data that they were given about private information about students to track the students, which leads me to the question, why did they have it in the first place? But for those who haven't heard of the news, apparently, several students across the state, one in this district apparently, had tweeted some things about the PARC tests. And no sooner did they tweet it, then Pearson, the company who puts out the tests, got a hold of it, went to the Department of Education, and my understanding is that the Department of Education even wanted the student to be disciplined. Not just in this district, but in other districts too. That is out in the paper. I think Washington Hills was one. I forget which other district it was. I guess there's nothing illegal about Pearson monitoring someone's tweets as long as they're public accounts, notwithstanding the fact that it's creepy. The bigger concern I have was Pearson's apparent access to databases through the Department of Education that enable them to somehow or other match a tweet with a name. And I guess the first question I have is, does Pearson in fact have access to information either from our district or the Department of Education that enables them to see a tweet and knows whose account it is?
Who you asking, Mike?
Sorry.
Who you asking?
I guess anybody, whether it's the superintendent, the business administrator, anybody who happens to know the answer.
Well, it's my understanding that that when they come across this information, there often is identifying information in the tweet that allows them to understand either the name of the student or the name of the school district, and kind of trace it further. And certainly when they send their information to the Department of Education, and Pearson also with its database of student information that we provide for the testing situation, they're able to kind of match things together, I think, pretty easily. For example, in the tweet that our student here sent out, I think Montville was referenced in the tweet, and potentially the student's name as well.
Okay, but I'm just saying, for example, if something called Jersey Girl 15 tweets about the bar, no other identifying information, does Pearson have access to information that allows them to find out who that tweet's from?
Well, we all know who that is. No. I don't believe so. I don't know, Casey, do you have a perspective about that? I don't think so. I think if the name is completely anonymous, if you will, they probably don't have that information. We understand they don't have access to private accounts. But I think sometimes people's Twitter accounts, in fact, identifies who they are. And of course, sometimes they're referencing information that makes it clear who they are, such as the name of the school district and so on.
I personally think, Mike, as time goes on, this issue is not going to go away. And Pearson and others will have to explain how and why. I think it's caught the ire of many school boards and the school districts.
It's caught the eye of a lot of parents, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that, I know Casey shared an example with me, I think just today, where a particular school district which did not have many opt-outs among its high school students, once that this actual incident, not in our district, but Watchung Hills has, I think, some national recognition, if you will, about this. Once that got out, the next day, another 100 parents in that particular district opted out. So the incident was upsetting to them that they thought their children's privacy was being violated, whether that's correct or not, but it caused them to then opt their child out of the test. So it certainly has got garnered some attention along the way. Pearson and the state education department believe that it's necessary in order to make sure that there's no cheating takes place. So that's the reason they believe it's necessary.
The real basic question I have too, maybe this is more of a legal question. Can Pearson or anyone else prevent a student after they take the mark test going out in their car when school's over and tweeting about a question? And I don't think you on the spot. If you don't want to go off the top answer, I can understand that.
The answer is, I don't believe they can. I mean, they cannot divulge actual test questions, but if it's more general loosey-goosey, I don't see any prohibition on that. And I don't know exactly how you would go about forcing it after the fact once the tweet is released, which is a whole other concern.
Well, I think, I don't want to go on about this for much longer, but I think what's inflamed so many people is the way the Department of Education says, or Pearson directs the Department of Education to discipline your students. It's, you know, it's unbelievable that they would say that.
Karen, I think there's going to be so much information regarding this in the next several weeks, months, and hopefully a lot of this information, a lot of these questions will be finalized between Pearson department and it's just everybody's having unique questions.
Okay.
Okay, I'll open up to the public for anything you want to talk about. Okay, seeing none, motion to adjourn.
Well, wait a minute, we have to move forward.
Oh, yes, thank you, Charlie. So motion to go to closed, and when we come out, there will be no action.
Personnel.
We're going to close for superintendent's search, as I mentioned earlier.
Motion.
Oh, who's making the motion?
Make motion.
John? Second?